So the Slake test is basically a test of how well the soil holds up to water infiltration or sort of like water submersion. The amount of sort of biological glues in the soil holding the soil particles together create kind of water resistance for the soil structure. So what we're going to do is take these two samples. You want about a golf ball size of each, so they should be about the same amount, and we're going to place them in these ball jars of water that have little baskets made out of hardware cloth in them, and we're just going to place them in the baskets and see what happens. So we're looking at really two factors here. We're looking at how much of the clod of soil remains in the basket and doesn't fall through the hardware cloth, and then also we're looking at how cloudy is the water. And you can certainly do this test in a way that takes a quantification by recording the percentage of the soil that stays in the basket after a minute compared to falls down to the bottom. And for the water murkiness, we're actually looking at different field turbidity tests that are used by water evaluators, like folks who do watershed river analysis to find a good quantification for this. But if you're just a farmer, gardener, kind of wanting to understand what's happening in your soil, a good way to do it is just to do this, to compare an undisturbed part of your soil with a nearby disturbed part of the soil. So here you can see that there's really not a whole lot of difference between these two. So the field edge sample looks like it's maybe shed a tiny bit less of its mass down to the bottom, and I'm seeing maybe a tiny bit clearer, maybe a little bit more murkiness in the infield sample. But my guess is that because Steve has been using these really great tillage reduction methods, and he's got a really good cover crop in place and lots of soil cover, we have a good strong amount of fungal and bacterial glues in the soil holding the particles together. So we're not really seeing a huge difference between these two samples, which is really a really nice indicator of health.